Robotic mower brands are selling you wire-free freedom. What they're not telling you? Half these machines can't handle a slope, a narrow gate, or a single garden bed without completely losing their minds. I tested them. The gap between the marketing and reality is embarrassing. So here's what's actually at stake. You spend $200, $300, maybe $400 on a cordless mower. It arrives, looks great in the box, and then it dies on a slight incline. Or the battery taps out before you're halfway done. Or the cut quality is so uneven your lawn looks worse. That's not a hypothetical. That's what bad spec sheet shopping gets you. Today I've got a ranked lineup of no-wire mowers, and I'm running each one through the same criteria: real runtime, cut quality, and whether the price actually justifies the performance gap above it. Because a $250 mower that outperforms a $400 one isn't a bargain find. It's a verdict. Let's get into it. Now here's where the spec sheet gets genuinely impressive, and where I have to pump the brakes. The Sunseeker S4 is $984 and it comes loaded. 360 degrees 3D LiDAR, Vision AI, wire-free virtual boundaries, 42% slope handling, and a claimed 0.25-acre coverage capacity. Automotive-grade navigation technology on a lawnmower. On paper, that's extraordinary. The setup pitch is real too. Drive it around your yard via the app. It generates a 3D map. No perimeter wire burial required. That alone solves a genuine headache. At 60 decibels, it's quieter than most conversation. But here's the problem. 12 reviews. 4.9 stars on 12 reviews tells you almost nothing. There's no independent long-term data, no reliability track record, no real-world edge case testing to stress those LiDAR promises against actual dense canopy or narrow passages. The features are compelling. The evidence behind them is thin. At nearly $1,000, thin evidence is a real risk. If you're an early adopter who wants cutting-edge navigation and accepts that you're essentially beta testing, the S4 is fascinating. Everyone else should wait for the data to catch up to the marketing. So that brings us to the Segway Navimo i215, and Segway is making a bold claim here. Solid-state LiDAR plus onboard vision sensors, dual fusion navigation, no boundary wires, no satellite dependency. Day or night? Sounds like a leap. At $1,399, it absolutely has to be. That's not cheap robot money. That's serious commitment money. The headline spec that actually matters is the 45% slope handling. Most wire-free mowers tap out well before that. The i215 adds off-road wheels and electronic stability control to back it up. Not just a marketing bullet point, a real mechanical answer to real terrain. Noise sits at 59 decibels, which is genuinely quiet. It detects over 200 obstacle types at 0.4-inch accuracy. That's specific enough to take seriously. The problem? Only 27 reviews in 2026. That's a thin data pool for a $1,399 bet. Strong specs. Zero long-term reliability signal. For hilly, complex yards where the cheaper options physically can't cope, the i215 is legitimately interesting. But if your lawn is relatively flat, you'd be paying a steep premium for capability you'll never use. Verify the owner feedback before you commit. RTK navigation. That's the big promise from the Works Landroid Vision Cloud at $1,099.99. Centimeter-level accuracy, no perimeter wire, no local antenna. Sounds like a genuine leap forward. So where does RTK actually matter in a lawnmower? Tight edge lines, complex yard shapes, consistent overlap so you don't get patchy stripes. On paper, the Vision Cloud delivers all of it. Cloud-sourced RTK plus VSLAM sensor fusion for shaded areas where GPS signal degrades. The obstacle avoidance runs a neural network processing up to 10 trillion operations per second. That's not marketing fluff, that's real processing muscle. It handles half an acre, tackles 30-degree slopes, and manages unlimited mowing zones through the app. Genuinely impressive spec sheet. Here's the problem. 45 reviews, 3.8 out of 5. For an $1,100 mower, that rating needs to be higher. Early ownership data is thin and mixed. The technology is legitimate. The real-world execution? Still unproven at scale. If you're an early adopter who wants cloud RTK without antenna installation, it's compelling. Everyone else should wait for more owner data before committing 4 figures to this one. So, if that one was thin on real-world data, this next one is thinner. The Ecovax Goat 01000 RTK is $699. Wire-free, RTK guided, with automated mapping, AIVI 3D obstacle avoidance, and zero edge cutting for up to a quarter acre. On paper, that's a genuinely strong spec sheet. In practice, we have 322 reviews sitting at 3.6 out of 5. That's not a disaster rating, but it's not a confidence rating either. It's the kind of number that tells you something isn't landing consistently. Ecovax markets the true edge mowing and the 45-degree slope capability hard. Those are real differentiators if they work. The 2.3-foot narrow passage navigation is legitimately useful for complex yards. But without independent test data to stress those claims against actual performance, I can't tell you whether that 3.6 reflects a fixable app issue or a fundamental reliability problem. That distinction costs you $699. At this price, you need certainty, not a coin flip. If Ecovax irons out whatever's dragging that score down, this becomes interesting. Right now, it's a wait and see. And the next pick? That's where the data actually shows up. That next pick is the Anthbot M5. And here's what surprised me. Dual AI vision plus full band RTK positioning at $578.99. That's a spec sheet that usually starts at $800. So either something's cut or the math just changed. The M5 uses centimeter-level RTK accuracy combined with a dual camera obstacle system. No perimeter wire, maps itself in around 10 minutes without you driving it around the yard. That's real. It handles slopes up to 45%, which covers the overwhelming majority of residential properties. It manages up to 20 separate work zones through the app, and 291 reviews at a 4.2 rating is the strongest user confidence score in this entire lineup. That's not nothing. The honest caveat: no independent third-party test data exists for this unit yet. So the gap between spec sheet and real-world performance is still an open question. For an 1/8-acre lot with complex terrain, the feature-to-dollar ratio here is genuinely hard to argue with. If you're an early adopter who's done their research, this is your pick. If you need certainty backed by years of field data, the next one delivers exactly that. So let's talk about what actually separates these across 4 things that matter: price to performance, coverage gaps, navigation reliability, and total cost of ownership. Because marketing budgets are not performance data. Coverage gaps are where cheap units quietly fail you. They log impressive runtimes but miss the same corner every single cycle. Navigation reliability compounds that. A unit that gets stuck twice a session isn't saving you time, it's costing you it. And total cost of ownership? Factor in replacement brushes, filter bags, and warranty gaps before you call anything a deal. The rankings ahead reflect exactly that math, not box claims. Actual outcomes. So here's where the data lands. Under $100, the value tier actually delivers. Don't overspend. Mid-range is where the industry lies hardest. You pay premium prices for rebranded specs. Skip it almost every time. At the top, one product earned that price. 1. The rest were marketing dressed as engineering. The rankings in this video aren't opinions, they're outcomes. Buy the winner at your budget, ignore the box. Links are below, links are in the description. Current prices, no fluff. Subscribe if you want tests, not ads, and drop a comment. Which one did you go with? I read them.